Where is Gabby? New twist today in the missing woman mystery that's gripping the nation. Police now calling her boyfriend a person of interest, and what a police report in Utah reveals. Emotional testimony.
We have been failed.
Simone Biles and other gymnasts calling out the FBI's handling of the sex abuse case against a former team doctor. Supply chain shock, from sweaters to salad dressing. Why many products are costing more, including some items you may not expect.
Hi there, I'm Marnie Hughes in for Nicole Burley. Tonight it is Wednesday, September 15th, and this is Rush Hour. Those top stories in just a moment, but first, here is what else is going on right now across the nation. We have reporters stationed all across the country tonight. SpaceX now just about 2 hours away from sending its first all-civilian crew into orbit. We are live at the launch pad ahead of this historic liftoff. More than 80,000 people still without power in Louisiana tonight, more than 2 weeks after Hurricane Nicholas swept through that region. We are live on the ground as Nicholas lashes Louisiana with more dangerous flooding. Plus, another new twist in the murder mystery surrounding a South Carolina family. Now the death of the Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper is raising questions, with her family saying they never received a payout. This is Alec Murdaugh's deals with fallout from an alleged murder-for-hire plot. But we begin tonight with the latest on Gabby Petito. The 22-year-old vanished on a cross-country road trip with her boyfriend. That boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, is not talking to police, and he's also not talking to the FBI. Tonight, we have some new information about an incident involving this couple and police just weeks before Gabby's disappearance. The two were in Utah at the time, and investigators say neither Gabby nor her boyfriend, Brian, called 911. Here is what we know right now about the timeline of this trip. The couple left New York on July 2nd, stopping in Kansas before pushing west into Colorado and Utah. That is where this latest incident happened. Police were called. The trip continued. About 2 weeks later, Gabby called home to tell her family she and Laundrie were in Grand Teton National Park, and that was the last time they heard from Gabby. It would be another 2 weeks before she was reported missing. News Nation correspondent Brian Nenton is live in Northport, Florida tonight, where the couple was living prior to this road trip. Brian, a lot of new details coming out today. What are police telling you at this hour?
Well, the big thing with police right now is they are just frustrated that Gabby's boyfriend still will not talk to them. We know the boyfriend's parents are inside this house right here behind me. It's believed the boyfriend could be in there too. And you mentioned it. New today, we learned about an incident involving the couple that the police were called to just days before she was reported missing.
Brian's stretching, doing some morning yoga.
Still no sign of 22-year-old Abby Petito, who vanished on a van trip across the country with her boyfriend Brian Laundrie. And as the multi-state investigation heats up, police in Northport, Florida say Laundrie is now officially a person of interest. At this point, has he talked to police at all?
No.
And how frustrating is that?
It is 100% frustrating. I mean, the fact that we have somebody who may have been the last person who's seen her, who has specific details on her potential whereabouts.
The couple looked so happy in their social media videos, but according to just released police reports, a witness called 911 in Moab, Utah on August 12th for a possible domestic violence in progress. The officer who approached the couple in the van said Gabby was in the passenger seat crying uncontrollably. Brian told police both suffered from a condition blacked out in the report, and months of travel together created emotional strain between them and increased the number of arguments. The officer decided it was not a domestic assault, but a mental health crisis. In the end, officers separated the two for the night, finding Brian a hotel and leaving Gabby with the van. Tonight, the van is in a police garage, and Gabby's dad is trying to stay positive.
Right now, we're only focusing on getting her home. Oh, you know, I know how some of these stories end, and I understand that. But to me, in my head right now, a phone's dead, broke, lost, taken, whatever. She's wandering the woods because she can't find her bearings.
Some of Gabby's family members are on the way to Wyoming to search as frustration mounts that her boyfriend will not talk. We've been outside Brian's house. When the parents come and go, they rush and go. They don't talk to anyone. No one's talking to the police. I mean, why aren't the parents and Brian out saying, please, let's find Gabby?
I'll let you make those assumptions on what you think that means and says.
And we asked police today if they know where Brian Laundrie is right now. They said they have an idea, but they're not tracking him minute by minute. They are just hoping someone comes forward with a tip to help them find Gabby. Marnie?
Wow, Brian, such a mystery. Thank you. Joining me now is Flora Rocco. She is Gabby Petito's godmother. Flora, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, let me say how sorry I am for the family going through this horrible ordeal. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Marnie. It's good to be here.
I'd like to begin with the investigation and the status. Police have said they know more than what they are telling us in the media. Are they sharing anything new with the family that you can tell us?
Yeah, honestly, that's one of the more kind of frustrating things, too, is that we don't get as much as we would like as well. There's an ongoing investigation, so that's what they keep telling us. So kind of what you're hearing is kind of what we are hearing as well. We sometimes hear it a little bit before the news comes out, but honestly, like this morning, we found out a few things just like kind of right beforehand or right as like a press conference was happening as well. So we don't have a super amount of information besides what's already out there.
Wow, so many questions. So what's the family saying about Brian and his parents and the fact that they're not cooperating or talking to police?
Well, yeah, I can give you my opinion on it.
Go ahead.
I think it is very... it doesn't match up to the amount of work that we have been putting in, to what law enforcement has been putting into this case, to what little strangers around the entire nation are putting into this case. It's not matching up. It doesn't make sense, and it's unfair to say that you can sit in the background when basically the entire nation is trying to figure this out. If you could just come forward and say where she is, where the last time you saw her, any of that is so integral into finding her. And to say that you're not going to help is like wildly, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right. So, Flora, tell me about their relationship between Gabby and Brian. Any red flags, any indication that they had trouble in the past?
So, they've come to visit me. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and they've come to visit me up from Florida many times. They came up and visited me on their way up to New York. I will say that I honestly didn't see any red flags. They seemed like a really fun couple. They really liked the same things. They enjoyed each other's time. They were super excited about this trip. I mean, it was like their dream trip. I was actually jealous. Their itinerary sounded amazing. They redid this van together. That's why it's hard to wrap your head around why all of a sudden now there's this shift where a person that you saw loving your family member and your loved one now will not help at all.
Let's focus on Gabby for a minute, Flora. This police report caught our
Sure.
attention today, indicates that Gabby struggles with anxiety in the report. What can you share with us about her mental state before this trip and during it?
Sure. I personally have never seen Gabby struggling with anything. I wasn't, I didn't raise her. I wasn't there every day with her also. So I'm not privy to what she may have been going through and not revealing. But honestly, I didn't see anything. Another thing, too, is that I know that there was a police report that was out today. Honestly, I've only read the police report. I don't know much else. And
well, let me add something here, and maybe you can respond. That police report also said Brian told officers that their travels together over the last several months had created emotional strain between also the couple and increased arguments over the last few months. At any point in this trip, did Gabby reach out to you as her godmother, her parents, her step-parents, and say, I'm in trouble, I need help, I don't feel safe?
Not to me. She did not. And I don't know if she reached out to anyone else and said those words.
How well does Gabby's parents know Brian?
Very well, I would say that he grew up here on Long Island as well. They knew each other from high school. They moved down to Florida together. They've traveled a bunch too. Like they've taken other different family members on camping trips. They love camping, so they've done a lot of traveling together. And that's the.
Yeah. Flora, let me ask you. I mean, Gabby's 22 years old. She's young in most of our minds, but she is an adult. Has she ever disappeared before? Can you hear me, Flora?
So sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I was just saying, for most of us, Gabby's 22. That's young. But for others, she's an adult. Has she ever disappeared before or indicated that she needed some space, some time to herself?
No. honestly, she's never really said, and this is the thing, she is not a person to go off on her own.
Okay.
She's very good about keeping in contact. She's very good about FaceTiming, uploading photos, letting people know where she is. So it is very off character right now for her to just be out and about.
Florida, before I let you go, I know you know Gabby better than most. You've watched her grow up. How worried are you right now that something bad has happened?
I mean, it's really scary. You have to really think about this timeline, you know? To find out that the van had returned to Florida on September 1st, it's only elementary math to do that. It was sitting there for 11 days before anything was reported missing or there was any chatter anywhere. So it's kind of mind-blowing, and it's like your senses are on high alert.
Right.
You don't really sleep. You don't really eat that much. You kind of just really want answers.
Wow.
And the answers can be out there, and they're sitting with someone right now. So
it is a puzzle. We're on it. I can promise you that. Please give our best to Gabby's mom and the rest of the family. I know the family is involved in the search. And as we learn more, we'll share it with our audience at home. And please come back and give us any updates that you have. Flora Rocco, Gabby's godmother, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. New today, drug maker Pfizer making the case for a COVID booster. Company execs say the latest data shows that we are going to need them and need them soon. However, there is a lot of scientific debate about this. Pfizer makes its pitch to the FDA on Friday, but we do have some of that research for you tonight. News Nation correspondent Tom Negevin is live for us in New York City with what it says. Hey, Tom.
Right, and Marnie, you know, the drug makers like Pfizer stand to make a lot of money from a COVID booster shot. The White House Coronavirus Task Force says we're going to need them, but tonight the word we're getting from scientists at the FDA is that they are in no rush to approve them. Vaccine maker Pfizer about to go before the Food and Drug Administration with data from Israel and the U.S. suggesting vaccine protection against COVID-19 fades 6 to 8 months after the second dose, supporting its request for a third dose about 6 months after the second in people 16 and older. But wait.
One thing we may not see is that these booster doses have a marked effect on declining the rates of transmission. That may not happen, and that may not happen because so many people still haven't gotten a first dose.
Those first doses, experts say, are more important than boosters. According to the CDC, nearly a quarter of the country's adults have yet to get that first shot. And while a study in India appears to back Pfizer up, finding a significant drop in COVID antibodies within 4 months of vaccination, that study is not peer-reviewed, and it's based on 2 vaccines we don't use in the U.S.
We have to really understand what do people mean by vaccine effectiveness? And the main issue here is that the vaccine effectiveness in preventing you from going to the hospital, from having severe disease, and from dying continues to be extremely high, even many, many months out from vaccination.
And tonight, scientists of the World Health Organization and the Food and Drug Administration have said there is not sufficient evidence at this point that boosters are widely needed. More research needs to be done to validate that argument. In fact, the WHO has said, Marnie, that those vaccines are needed for first doses around the world, especially in the developing world.
Wow. And a lot of people in the U.S. ready to roll up their sleeve a third time. Tom, thank you. Tropical depression Nicholas still on the move, dumping inches of rain across the Gulf Coast. In Louisiana, flash floods and high water are forcing road closures and causing some cars to get stuck. News Nation's Mark Rigsby from our station KLFY in Lafayette, Louisiana, is live in Evangeline Parish tonight. So, Mark, how bad is the flooding there?
Well, good evening, Marnie, from Louisiana, where Tropical Storm Nicholas has been dumping many inches of rain across southern Louisiana. We are in a little area called Tiger Lane, right between the small towns of Vidrine and Mamu in Evangeline Parish. Let me go ahead and step out of the way and show you just an example of what happens when there's too much rain in a short period of time. This is a road that has about a foot, 6 inches to a foot of water on it, and it goes for about a quarter mile. Let's go ahead and take a look at some video that we shot earlier in the day. And of course, we're out in the country, very much an area where the people know the roads here, and they know if they can pass them or not. But we wanted to know why some people drive through high water and others don't. Well, they say that if you have a big truck and they have tires that are larger and they have clearance, they can get through all of this high water. And of course, when you have low spots and you have farmland and you have drainage ditches that are not in such great shape, they're not always cleared out, then you're gonna get water on the roadway. But the best advice is not to drive through high water. You know, they always say, turn around, don't drown. Marnie, back to you.
All right, Mark, I think that truck driver wanted to get through. Be safe out there, turn around, drown. We've heard that often. Thank you, Mark. Let's turn to Gerard Bailey with more on Nicholas. The storm just kind of sitting, and that's the real problem, right? The rain just keeps coming down, keeps accumulating, and then people can't drive around.
Very true, and you know, some of those low spots make it a little impassable, and even if you might have a vehicle that might get above it, the problem is you may not be able to see. The road may be gone underneath. It could have been washed away. So regardless of what size truck you have, it's not a good idea. We tell people not to do that. Right now, we've seen everywhere from 4 inches to half a foot of rainfall, even places over there between Lake Charles and Baton Rouge, 8 inches of rainfall. Gulfport, Mississippi has seen some too. And right now we're seeing the radar still bringing plenty of rain across these same areas. So we're watching for more and more of that. There's still a pretty good risk for more potential flash flooding, an additional 2 to 5 inches possible here across those same areas as we move into the next few days, as what's left of Nicholas is just not going anywhere. Nicholas is not the only system that is really out there. In fact, we're watching for the next couple of days. We will likely see 2 more named systems. One can happen right here off the coast of Georgia or the Carolinas here, and we have even another couple of them, one of them with another high chance of development here, way off of Africa, but 2 more named systems. The tropics are, of course, very active this time of the year. We're about halfway through the season. We're likely going to see 2 more named systems here in just 2 days here. Marnie?
A busy hurricane season, Gerard. Thank you. And members of the U.S. gymnastics team testify on Capitol Hill. They claim the FBI did not do enough to protect them from convicted sex offender Larry Nassar. News Nation reporter Raquel Martin is live in Washington, D.C. tonight with the latest on today's hearings.
Good evening. Well, these testimonies were outright heartbreaking. Now, this hearing was ultimately called after an inspector general report that came out in July showed the FBI sat on reports of sexual abuse for 15 months. Lawmakers say because of that inaction, at least 70 young girls were victimized.
I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
U.S. gymnastics star Simone Biles says she and dozens of women suffered sexual abuse because law enforcement did not take initial reports seriously.
The scars of this horrific abuse continue to live with all of us.
At a Wednesday hearing, Biles, alongside gymnasts Michaela Maroney, Maggie Nichols, and Allie Raisman, told senators the FBI turned a blind eye when they reported their abuse as early as 2015.
Why are public servants whose job is to protect getting away with this?
The July Inspector General report showed agents set on Maroney's information and later falsified her testimony.
This is not justice. Enough is enough.
Illinois Senator Dick Durbin and Kansas Republican Jerry Moran say the FBI must be held accountable.
Egregious failures like this one do not arise out of nowhere. They are enabled by systematic organizational failures.
Allowing for there to be more than one, more than dozens.
FBI Director Christopher Wray says the specific agent responsible for the failure was fired and another retired.
It never should have happened.
He says the FBI is now adopting new policies.
My entire senior leadership team are going to make damn sure everybody at the FBI remembers what happened here in heartbreaking detail.
Now, the Department of Justice was also invited to testify today, but declined. Following today's hearing, lawmakers joined survivors at a press conference. They're promising more hearings and legislative action. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
Raquel, thank you. Calls are growing for General Mark Milley to step down after a new book details phone calls that he made to his Chinese counterpart in the final months of former President Trump's presidency. That book, Peril, by Washington Post journalist, says Milley would warn his counterpart in the event of a U.S. attack. Milley defended those phone calls, saying it was to convey reassurance and be in line with his responsibilities. White House correspondent Allison Harris is joining us live with how the president is responding to all this. Allison?
Yeah, Marnie, tonight the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is facing calls for his resignation and charges that he went rogue, violating the bedrock principle of civilian control over the military. President Biden is now coming to his defense. Reporting from the book Peril by Bob Woodward and Robert Costa details calls Milley made to his Chinese counterpart before the election and after January 6th, telling them that he would alert China in the event of a U.S. attack. The book also says Milley tried to limit then-President Trump's ability to order a military strike or launch nuclear weapons, saying Milley was concerned about Trump's mental decline after the election, describing Trump as manic and worried that he would go rogue. The president today is standing by Milley.
I have great confidence in General Milley.
The president knows General Milley. They've worked side by side, and the president has complete confidence in his leadership, his patriotism, and his fidelity to our Constitution.
And Mr. Trump, who nominated Milley to the post, today says General Milley should be tried for treason. No surprise that Republicans, especially those who are Trump supporters, are furious to learn about the reporting that is in this book. Senator Marco Rubio says the general should be fired immediately. Senator Rand Paul says he should be court-martialed. A statement on behalf of General Milley and the spokesperson for the Pentagon today say that communicating with foreign counterparts is the role of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And the Pentagon spokesperson says Milley would be intimately involved in the process of planning a military strike regardless. Milley is testifying to Congress later this month at a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing on Afghanistan. He's also expected to get questions about all of this. Marnie?
I bet he is. All right, Allison, thank you. Still ahead on Rush Hour, this shooting is not what it seemed. The astonishing admission from a prominent South Carolina attorney about how he got shot in the head. And a live look at the launch site for SpaceX in Florida. We're going to take you there in just a moment as the world's first all-civilian spaceflight crew prepares for orbit. And later, country star Reba McEntire rescued. What happened and how the music legend is doing tonight.
Common sense news for common sense people. These are the facts. You can formulate your own opinions.
The rest of us really just want the news. We want the facts. We want to get on with our busy lives.
Our job isn't to tell you how to think. It's not to give you our opinion.
It's really just about show and tell, not pitch and sell.
When we walk into this building every day, we check our opinions at the door.
That is the mission, and I think that's what news for all of America means.
It was 1968, the year I turned 12.
It's safe! Stop it! Stop! Say you're sorry!
Man, she's tough.
I know. I dig it.
Oh my. With Chase Freedom Unlimited, I earn all this cash back? Oh, I gotta tell everyone. Hey, Rita, you can earn 3% on dining, including takeout.
Bon appetit.
Hey, Kim, you earn 5% on travel purchased through Chase.
Way ahead of you.
Hey, Neil, you can earn 3% at drugstores.
Buddy, I'm right here. Why are you yelling?
Because that's what I do. You're always earning with 5% cash back on travel purchased through Chase. 3% at drugstores, 3% on dining, including takeout, and 1.5% on everything else you buy. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Before you go there, or fist bump there, or, oh, I can't wait to go there, or reunite there. Start here. Walgreens makes it easy to stay protected wherever you go. Schedule your free flu shot and COVID-19 vaccine today.
Stanley Steamer cleans your whole home. All you gotta do is pick up the phone. It's not just carpet anymore. It's tile, wood, stone, really any floor. Call 1-800-STEAMER now. We'll clean your home and you'll say, wow.
Are you using Liberty Mutual's coverage customizer tool? So you only pay for what you need. Sorry? Limo, you're an animal!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Life has a lot of moving pieces. That's why AARP is here to help, giving you access to hundreds of benefits and social programs for just $12 the first year. Going out? Save with discounts at restaurants and hotels. Staying in? Check out AARP Movies for Grown-Ups. Plus, the AARP Now mobile app helps you find local events near you. Focus on your health with access to discounts on eyeglasses and deeper discounts on prescription drugs. AARP even offers financial and job resources and information on fraud protection. And AARP fights for affordable health care, lower prescription drug prices, and to protect Social Security and Medicare. Let AARP help you put the pieces together. Join today for $12 for your first year of membership with automatic renewal. That's 25% off the standard annual rate. And get a second membership free. Plus, you'll get AARP the magazine and this free insulated trunk organizer. Call or go online now.
At Chewy, we know the only thing that changes when bringing home a new pet is everything. And we're here with everything to help you on that journey. We've got toys, treats and food, even prescriptions delivered right to your door. Get fast, free 1 to 2 day shipping with Chewy.
Welcome back. Well, it is a big night. We are just a few hours away from the historic launch of the SpaceX Inspiration4 mission. For the next 3 days, 4 people every day will orbit the Earth and raise money for St. Jude's along the way. News Nation's Amanda Hawley from our station WFLA in Tampa is live from the Kennedy Space Center tonight. Amanda, weather always a concern on these nights. How's it looking for launch?
You know, the weather has been perfect all afternoon. We've had a strong easterly breeze, which keeps all the thunderstorms inland, leaving us with clear skies and actually a comfortable breeze, and weather not a concern. Now, in just a little over 18 months, SpaceX has literally brought life back into launching us back to space from U.S. soil. Now, there's been 3 NASA missions to the International Space Station, but like you said, today's launch is totally different with 4 regular civilians on board. Inspiration4 opens up a new set of possibilities for space travel. This launch will mark the first all-civilian crew to launch from U.S. soil. 4 crew members have been trained strictly by SpaceX to travel in the Crew Dragon capsule Resilience to 350 miles above Earth's surface.
Now, this is significant and historic because it's going to be the highest that any humans have gone into orbit since the Hubble servicing missions.
They'll be about 100 miles higher than the International Space Station as well. Their primary goal is to give back. While on their 3-day mission, they hope to raise $200 million for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Haley Arsenault, a childhood cancer survivor herself, now physician's assistant at St. Jude, is thrilled about the opportunity as the medical officer on board.
I'm so excited about the medical research that we're going to be doing on this flight. And we're going to be collecting a lot of swabs to learn about the microbiome, how that changes in flight. We're going to be performing ultrasounds to evaluate for fluid shifts, as well as performing some cognitive tests and studying radiation effects of going to our high altitude.
Now, the 4 astronauts, they are strapped into the Crew Dragon Resilience behind me on top of a Falcon 9 rocket. What's really cool about this particular capsule is instead of them docking to the International Space Station, where they would typically have a docking adapter right here, they actually have a large window called a cupola, and it's going to be the largest window to ever have been in space. So they're going to have a fantastic view of our big, beautiful planet, and I'm sure they're going to take lots of pictures as well. Reporting from Cape Canaveral, Amanda Hawley, back to you.
Wow, what a story they'll have to tell. Thank you, Amanda. I can't wait to hear from Haley because she's got so much energy about what her experience is like in space. All right, we'll be checking in with you shortly. Thanks a lot. The Alec Murdaugh story is getting even hairier next. Find out why he hired someone to kill him and why one family says Murdaugh still owes them money from a settlement. Plus, you might want to skip the Christmas cards this year. We're going to get into how long paper products and some other critical items may be delayed and how much it's expected to cost you.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and now with 2 new flavors.
Your eyes, beautiful on the outside. But if you have diabetes, there can be some not so pretty stuff going on the inside. It's true. If you have diabetes, you know high blood sugar is the root of the problem. But that excess sugar can cause the blood vessels to be seriously damaged. And when that happens, this could happen: vision loss or even blindness. That's right, diabetic retinopathy is a leading cause of blindness for adults in the US. But even though you can't see it, there is something you can do about it. Remember this: now is the time to get your eyes checked. Eye care is an incredibly important part of your long-term diabetes management. See a path forward with actions and treatments that may help your eyes and protect against vision loss. Just say to yourself, "Now I see." Then go see an eye care specialist. Visit nowic.com to get the facts about diabetes, your eyes, and what you can do next to take control of your sight. Brought to you by Regeneron.
Frequent heartburn? Not anymore. The Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge is helping people love what they love again. Just 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. Because life starts when heartburn stops. Take the challenge at prilosecotc.com.
When our parents get older, sometimes they need a little care.
Can you believe that?
Find care for all you love. Get senior care help now. Care.com.
My family was a big part of my journey, but I needed to do it for myself. Never in a million years did I think I would lose 78 pounds.
Here I am, 37 pounds down and feeling great. WW has really helped me adapt a better way of eating. It motivates me to keep going.
WW taught me a great, sustainable lifestyle. I'm strong. I didn't even know I was strong. Look, I got muscle.
WW, weight loss that works, wellness that works. Get 4 months free at WW.com. Hurry, offer ends September 20th.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here with a new message about your Medicare benefits. You may be entitled to transportation, meals, and expanded coverage for dental work that includes extractions, fillings, and dentures, all at no additional cost. Plus, depending on your zip code, you may be entitled to the Medicare benefit that adds money to your Social Security check every single month. Call and get everything you deserve. Call now. It's free.
I'm on a fixed income, so I called to get money added to my Social Security check. They helped me so much.
I called to save money on co-pays, get prescriptions, transportation, and my dental work covered. I couldn't believe I was spending money I don't have to spend.
Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline, and you can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-883-8200. That's 1-800-883-8200 now.
Well, just when you think this case can't get any more horrific or bizarre, more shocking news surrounding Alec Murdaugh, the South Carolina lawyer who hired someone to shoot and kill him after finding the bodies of his wife and son 3 months ago. Murdaugh is now connected to several other mysterious deaths with a new name on this list. News Nation's Janelle Fort is live with us to tell us more on this latest twist. Janelle.
In the time since Alec Murdaugh discovered his wife and son shot to death back in June, headlines about the once prominent attorney's alleged involvement in a string of mysterious deaths have resurfaced. Today, a new one coming to light. This time, the Murdaugh family's longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield.
Gloria died after falling in Alex's house in February of 2018.
Ronnie Richter is representing Satterfield's 2 sons.
After she fell, Alex handpicked a lawyer on behalf of the boys for the purpose of suing Alex. And that lawyer was a close personal colleague of Alex's. Apparently, some action was brought, some money was recovered.
But Richter says the boys never saw that money.
How are Gloria's sons feeling at this point, especially with all the new information that's come out?
I think betrayed doesn't begin to capture it. This is a small county in South Carolina. It's a place where you kind of got to go along to get along. This is a powerful family. And I certainly think intimidated.
It's yet another twist to the Murdaugh saga out of South Carolina. On top of allegations of stealing money from his family's law firm, investigators also say the shooting Murdaugh was involved in 2 weekends ago was actually an attempted suicide. State police say he tried to arrange his own death so that his surviving son would get a $10 million life insurance payment. Court documents show Murdaugh gave Curtis Smith the gun to kill him. Murdaugh was the 61-year-old's lawyer in a 2013 speeding case. On September 4th, Smith followed Murdaugh down a rural road and then fired at the lawyer. Investigators say Smith drove off and got rid of the gun, but the shot merely grazed Murdaugh's head, and he was able to call 911 for help. Smith confessed Tuesday and is now facing a slew of charges, including assisted suicide and conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. Charges are expected to be filed against Murdaugh as well. In a statement, his lawyers blamed opioid addiction for his erratic behavior, adding that Murdaugh is, quote, fully cooperating with SLED in their investigations into his shooting, opioid use, and the search to find the person or people responsible for the murder of his wife and son.
Now, Satterfield's sons have also filed a lawsuit against Alec Murdaugh over that missing settlement money. Their attorney says that it's worth $505,000. And in yet another turn to this bizarre case, Marnie, state investigators announcing earlier that they now have a criminal investigation open into Satterfield's death.
So many layers, and it just gets more and more bizarre by the day. Janelle, thank you. Continuing to follow that closely. New details tonight in that alleged plot by 2 teenagers to stage a Columbine-like attack on a Florida middle school. News Nation correspondent Michael Shore joins us now with the very latest. Michael, police believe they may have prevented a massacre here.
Marty, good evening to you. In fact, the police are not just taking all the credit, though. They are telling us that it's a student, a very astute student, a teacher, and a school resource officer, all together with the police, that may have stopped a real tragedy. And what they found that day and what they suspected may only have been the tip of the iceberg. Police in Lee County, Florida, now even more certain that they broke up what could have been another devastating tragedy after executing warrants on the electronic devices of 2 teens accused of plotting a school shooting there.
And in the course of doing that, we learned through their internet searches that these 2 suspects were not only researching how to build a pipe bomb, explosive device, but they're researching what's the consequences of their acts.
Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marcino today praising the school community for acting on reports of the plot.
Look at the student, look at the teacher, the SRO, the heroes, that if one of those links come out, maybe we're standing here today talking about a mass shooting.
It was a week ago when a teacher at Harns Marsh Middle School in Lehigh Acres near Fort Myers alerted school administrators and a school resource officer about the tip from students. While a search of an 8th grader's backpack did not turn up a reported weapon, administrators allegedly found a map indicating the location of each of the school's interior cameras. Today's evidence further implicates the 2 alleged accomplices, both teens who had been studying the Columbine massacre that took place in Littleton, Colorado in 1999. The arrest report saying that they were being held for a, quote, attempt, solicitation, and conspiracy to conduct a homicide. One of the lessons from the Columbine shooting and another Florida school massacre in Parkland, Florida in 2018 was to heighten parental and school awareness and to report suspect behavior, a lesson heeded in this case.
We would rather look into a million things and have it be nothing than to sit here and talk about an incident that could have been prevented.
And Marty, Sheriff Marcino telling me today as well that, they're totally sensitive to the fact that these are 2 juveniles, but he said it doesn't matter once that trigger is pulled and the tragedy ensues, they have to do their work for their part. The 2 youths are under a 21-day severe and secure juvenile detention there in Lee County.
Yeah, they're kids, but some important police work happening. Michael, thank you as always. Yeah. We have got some breaking entertainment news to tell you about an update to the Nicki Minaj COVID vaccine saga. That is coming up in Entertainment Nation.
USAA is made for the safe pilots. For Mac, who can come to a stop with barely a bobble. Lucia, who announces her intentions even if no one's there. And Sergeant Moore, who leaves room for her room. With USAA Safe Pilot, when you drive safe, you can save up to 30% on your auto insurance. Get a quote and start saving. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
In 2016, I was working at the Amazon warehouse when my brother passed away, and a couple of years later, my mother passed away. After taking care of them, I knew that I really wanted to become a nurse. Amazon helped me with training and tuition. Today, I'm a medical assistant, and I'm studying to become a registered nurse. Hindi ko kayo makakalimutan.
What makes new Salonpas Arthritis Gel so good for arthritis pain? Salonpas contains the most prescribed topical pain relief ingredient. It's clinically proven, reduces inflammation, and comes in original prescription strength. Salonpas, it's good medicine.
I don't just play someone brainy on TV. I'm an actual neuroscientist, and I love the science behind Nariva Plus. Unlike ordinary memory supplements, Nariva Plus fuels 6 key indicators of brain performance. More brain performance, yes please. Nariva, think bigger.
Some days, you just don't have it. Not my uncle, though. He's taking Trulicity for his type 2 diabetes, and now he's really on his game.
Once weekly Trulicity lowers your A1C by helping your body release the insulin it's already making. Most people reached an A1C under 7%. Plus, Trulicity can lower your risk of cardiovascular events. It can also help you lose up to 10 pounds. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. It's not approved for use in children. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it, you or your family have medullary thyroid cancer, or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems. Show your world what's truly inside. Ask your doctor about once weekly Trulicity.
My dad and I used to call this place the Devil's Drop.
This is awesome! The legend returns. The all-new, ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
Big news for heartburn sufferers. Introducing Zantac 360 Degrees with a new formula that has the #1 doctor-recommended medicine approved to both prevent and relieve heartburn. It works in as little as 15 minutes and lasts. New Zantac 360.
And tonight's winning numbers are 18, 55, 39, 71, and 43.
43?
Those numbers again.
We won! Yes!
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
I'll hold on to that.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Well, we've been hearing this for months. Inflation has been a concern throughout the pandemic, but now it seems to be creeping into some unusual corners of the economy yet seen before. News Nation's Nancy Liu is live in Los Angeles for us tonight. So, Nancy, we've seen price increases in what experts might consider the expected places, but now we're seeing them somewhere else. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you're right, Marnie. You'll see it more in grocery aisles and clothing stores. So it's not just cars and electronics. The supply chain issues are now having more of an impact on all sorts of goods, from window treatments to buttons and zippers and cans. Whatever the beverage, it now costs a bit more. A global aluminum shortage has impacted the production of cans. There's also a shortage of glass and bottles.
It's just been one thing after another, whether it's furniture, whether it's electronics for automobiles, and now glass bottles.
I have clients literally scouring the world for rubber for tires, cotton for fabric to make clothing. Pick a category other than maybe pharmaceuticals. Almost every other industry is impacted.
Supply chain experts believe the global system will remain disrupted for at least another year, so consumers should expect higher prices and shortages to drag on.
I've noticed that there's a lot of shortage in meat products, specifically things like turkey and chicken, which we eat a lot of in our house.
There is also less inventory of all types of clothing and paper products, that due to the lumber situation and a doubling in the price of wood pulp.
They can't get zippers for tents. Thousands of tents ready to be shipped. Lots of orders for them because of people camping and getting outdoors because of COVID, and they can't finish them.
Gibson says supply issues have even trickled down to a shortage of twist ties for bagging bread, while at many construction sites.
Now I'm hearing heater coils, switch plate covers, paint.
The list of endangered items is growing for home builders as well.
We can't really guarantee prices longer than like 60 to 90 days because of the increase in all the different prices that have been going on over the year.
Now, the paper shortage is also impacting the availability and cost of wedding invitations and holiday cards. So, Marnie, that means people will either have to pay more for what they want or they won't find what they want.
Oh, Nancy, that is music to my husband and my 3 kids' ears right now because they never want to pose for the Christmas card picture, and this year they may have an excuse to get out of it. I might still find a way, though. All right, Nancy, thank you. Still to come tonight, country music star Reba McEntire rescued from a building. We've got some new footage showing first responders helping her out of a window and down a ladder. That is coming up.
My father was an Allstate agent for 17 years, and I've been with Allstate for 13. We've seen a lot, but I could tell you that no matter what hits us, we always bounce back. It's what we do. My name is Melissa Roberts, and I am an Allstate agent in Harahan, Louisiana. Join me in helping America rebuild following natural disasters.
Managing type 2 diabetes?
On it.
On it.
On it with Jardiance.
They're 22 million prescriptions strong. Meet the people who are managing type 2 diabetes and heart risk with Jardiance. Jardiance is a once-daily pill that can reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults who also have known heart disease, so it could help save your life from a heart attack or stroke. And Jardiance lowers A1C.
Jardiance can cause serious side effects including dehydration, genital yeast or urinary tract infections, and sudden kidney problems. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be fatal. A rare but life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. And don't take it if you're on dialysis or have severe kidney problems. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Lower A1C and lower risk of a fatal heart attack? Yep, they're on it with Jardiance. Ask your doctor about Jardiance.
Think of what peanuts have given humanity. Fuel for vast migrations, sustenance for mountaineering expeditions and long journeys across the world. But most importantly, they give us something to eat when we drink beer. Planters, a nut above.
Hi, so you're the scientist here. Does my Aveeno Daily Moisturizer really make my dry skin healthier in one day?
It's true, Jen. This prebiotic oat formula moisturizes to help prevent dry skin.
Impressive. Aveeno, healthy. It's our nature. Try the body wash too.
I'm back. I've been inside too long.
It's good to see you, Jimmy.
I still got it.
Kimmel returns all new weeknights on ABC.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here with a new message about your Medicare benefits. You may be entitled to transportation, meals, and expanded coverage for dental work that includes extractions, fillings, and dentures, all at no additional cost. Plus, depending on your zip code, you may be entitled to the Medicare benefit that adds money to your Social Security check every single month. Call and get everything you deserve. Call now. It's free.
I'm on a fixed income, so I called to get money added to my Social Security check.
They helped me so much.
I called to save money on copays, get prescriptions, transportation, and my dental work covered. I couldn't believe I was spending money I don't have to spend.
Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline, and you can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-883-8200. That's 1-800-883-8200 now.
Welcome back. Some entertainment headlines now, including some breaking news about Nicki Minaj after her controversial COVID comments. News Nation's Sam Rubin from our Los Angeles station KTLA joining us live tonight. Sam, what happened?
Marnie, good afternoon and evening to you, viewers of News Nation. Nicki Minaj says that she's afraid of the vaccine, did not attend the Met Gala because of it, and posted a variety of tweets suggesting her concerns about the vaccine, including referencing a relative who had a very unusual reaction. The government of Trinidad said that relative cannot be found, and now the folks at Twitter are saying you can't put misinformation about the vaccine on your account. So Nicki Minaj has been suspended from Twitter, taken off the service. She has communicated through other social media saying, essentially criticizing Twitter, saying, why am I not allowed to question things, etc. In any event, as we speak right now, if you want to receive a tweet from Nicki Minaj, you're going to have to wait. She is not on the service at all.
In Twitter jail, and I hear there's some overcrowding there these days, Sam. Another celebrity making headlines, Wendy Williams. She is her own hot topic. Williams announced today there's going to be a delay to her season 13 premiere. So why the postponement?
Marnie, she is indeed her own hot topic. Perhaps she'll sit in that big chair and talk about herself and her battle with the breakthrough case of COVID-19. Wendy has had a variety of health issues for the last several months, several years, really. And now this, consequently, she is delaying the season of premiere of her show for several weeks. She now will not come back with new episodes until October. Reruns will take the place. Wendy has a very close relationship with her audience. She does more actual shows annually than Ellen or Kelly Clarkson or anyone else. Nonetheless, a big delay as she copes with this breakthrough COVID-19 case, and we hope that she's feeling better.
Yeah, we wish her all the best. Finally, Sam, she's a survivor. I would go so far as to say she's fancy. Country music legend Reba McEntire rescued from a 100-year-old building in Oklahoma today. What the heck happened?
Marnie, you got two titles in. I was going to say Reba sings of being a survivor, and indeed she is one, touring an old facility in Oklahoma, a town that is so small, many of us may not be familiar with it. It is called Ataka, Oklahoma, and she was in a very old theater there with a whole group touring it maybe for a performance, and a stairwell collapsed, leaving her and her party completely trapped. You're looking at footage of Reba and pals being rescued with a ladder out of a window. The interior staircase collapsed completely. It's a very old building. Everybody A-OK, but obviously a bit of a scare for Reba. She posted about it, saying most importantly that all is now well.
Wow, I'm a big Reba fan. I'm glad she's doing well, and all her crew as well. Sam, as always, thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Marnie.
The Donlin Report starts at the top of the hour. Joe is in the studio. Hey there, Joe. What are you working on?
Hi, Marnie. Tonight on the Donlin Report, some of the United States' most decorated female athletes testifying on Capitol Hill about the sexual abuse they endured at the hands of Larry Nassar, plus how the system and the FBI failed to protect them. Also, savior or traitor? General Mark Milley's calls to China. Did he help avert a global catastrophe or commit treason by going behind the commander-in-chief's back? We'll see you with that and more at the top of the hour. Marnie, back to you.
Busy night. Thank you, Joe. Former U.S. House Speaker Dennis Hassert's child sex abuse case finally coming to a close. Coming up next, how the decades-long case is being resolved.
I'm Brendan O'Connor, and I'm from Plano, Texas. I'm a local roofer in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. When I'm watching News Nation, I know that it's a national channel, but I feel like I'm getting a local perspective.
Historic lows and more people.
They're giving me the facts, and from there I can make my own opinion. This is News Nation, news for Texas, and news for all America.
Before you go there, or fist bump there, or, oh, I can't wait to go there, or reunite there. Start here.
Walgreens makes it easy to stay protected wherever you go. Schedule your free flu shot and COVID-19 vaccine today.
And Doug.
Oh, are you using Liberty Mutual's coverage customizer tool?
Sorry?
Well, since you asked, it finds discounts and policy recommendations, so you only pay for what you need. Limo, you're an animal! Who's got the bird legs now?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Los Angeles has joined the grim fraternity of cities held hostage by sophisticated hackers.
The city's been plunged into utter darkness.
So we're on our own.
I've lost the hotel room. Hang on!
This thing is holding up my threat, Cat!
How is it that every time the world seems to end, it ends some more?
Bye-bye.
911 season premiere this Monday on Fox.
There's an America we build and one we explore. One that's been paved and one that's forever wild. But freedom means you don't have to choose just one adventure. You get both. Introducing the all-new 3-row Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Jeep, there's only one.
Protect your pet this flea and tick season with Chewy. Find everything from flea collars and sprays to prescriptions that keep pests away. Chewy has what you need to keep tails wagging and pets itch-free all season long. Shop pet prescriptions and more at chewy.com today.
Sam, welcome to the back of your mind. This is where we learn how to eat with Noom. Cool.
Energy is everywhere, even in a little seedling, which, when turned into fuel, can help power a plane. At Chevron's El Segundo refinery, we're looking to turn plant-based oil into renewable gasoline, jet, and diesel fuels. Our planet offers countless sources of energy, but it's only human to find the ones that could power a better future.
We continue now live from our News Nation headquarters in Chicago. Here's a look at what is going on in your nation right now. A tentative settlement reached in the civil case pitting former Speaker of the House Dennis Hastert against the unidentified man known as Individual A, who accused Hastert of child sexual abuse and then sued the former Speaker for failing to pay nearly $2 million in hush money. The lawyer for Individual A said the terms of the settlement were confidential prior to the deal. Hastert's case had been set to go to trial next week. Attorneys are asking a Minnesota judge to dismiss a new manslaughter charge against the former police officer who shot and killed Dante Wright. Back in April, Officer Kim Potter shot Wright as he was driving away from police instead of using her stun gun. Her attorneys say that she wasn't aware she was holding a gun. Potter is now facing first and second-degree manslaughter charges after the state's attorney general took over that case. Today, President Biden met with the CEOs of Walt Disney, Columbia Sportswear, and also other executives to discuss his new COVID vaccine requirements for companies. The new mandate would require businesses with 100 or more employees to order those workers to be fully vaccinated. The president says the mandate should be effective in a few weeks. Pope Francis is speaking out today against vaccine hesitancy. He says he doesn't understand why people refuse the shot when humans have been getting vaccinated for years. The Pope suggested people should talk to those who are hesitant, including members of the clergy. The Vatican has maintained that the vaccine is morally acceptable despite being based on fetal stem cell research. A woman paddleboarding in Florida defends herself from an attacking alligator. Vicki Baker said that she has been around gators her whole life, but this was the first time that she was really scared. Video posted to her Facebook page shows Baker pushing that alligator away from the paddleboard. Oh my gosh, with the oar. Despite her brief encounter, Baker says she hopes the alligator survives, no matter where it ends up. As always, we want to leave you with a smile when we can, and tonight's story is a love story that seems to write itself. After following his dream to move to Denver, Reed Alexander met his love of his life, Rafael Duez. After matching on Tinder last year, the pair went on their first date a few days later. The two got engaged in April, and as they started planning for the big day, Alexander's health declined. He needed a kidney transplant. That's when Diaz checked if he was a match, and he was. Almost a year to the day of their first date, Diaz's kidneys became Alexander's.
He given me like the opportunity to like live a better life, a healthier life. We are able to like actually live our life to the fullest potential.
It's not only for love. If you can help someone else and if you can have the opportunity to share life, do it.
106 people are on the national transplant list waiting for their perfect match, and for these two, it was each other. That is all for Rush Hour now. The Donlin Report is up next. Good night.